It began like any ordinary afternoon in New Sweden, Maine, a remote forested place where the air was crisp and the trees seemed to whisper secrets. But what happened on September 23, 2024, would turn a quiet, off-grid homestead into the center of a mystery no one could explain. At around 3 in the afternoon, 13-year-old Stefanie Damron left her family's home for what would become a walk she never returned from. She stepped into the woods and vanished. As darkness fell, helicopters circled overhead, search teams raced against time, and the entire community held its breath. A $15,000 reward was announced. Drones swept the treetops, and K-9 units followed scent trails that faded into nothing. Residents lit purple candles, her favorite color, as prayers and whispers spread through town. Everyone wondered whether they would ever hear her voice again. One agent said, "We have a job to do, and we're not giving up." That mission, finding Stefanie, would soon test endurance, trust, and hope in ways no one could have imagined. Stefanie Erlene Jen Damron was born on October 6, 2010, in Beckley, West Virginia. She grew up surrounded by trees that seemed endless, moving with her family from West Virginia to Texas to Illinois before finally settling in New Sweden, Maine. She was 5 feet tall, about 130 pounds, with shoulder-length brown hair and green eyes. Features that would soon be printed on flyers across the state. Her family lived unconventionally in a structure they built themselves on 26 acres of remote property in Aroostook County, just miles from the Canadian border. Some called it a yurt. Her father, Christopher Dale Damron, who goes by Dale, described it more accurately as a hexayurt, a geodesic dome constructed with building materials as a legitimate dwelling with multiple rooms. There was no indoor plumbing, no running water, and limited electricity that came by way of a generator. Technology was scarce. Stefanie and her 5 siblings were homeschooled. The family valued their privacy and the peace that came with living off-grid. For Stefanie, the woods weren't just a backyard. They were a sanctuary, a classroom, and a second home. She knew those trails better than most adults. She had walked those paths hundreds of times. She knew where deer bedded down, where the mud hole was where the children caught tadpoles, and could navigate by landmarks invisible to outsiders. A lightning-struck oak, a moss-covered boulder, a particular bend in a trail. This familiarity would later make her disappearance all the more baffling. Living with the family was an elderly man named Richard, unrelated by blood but treated as a grandfather figure by all the Damron children. He had been part of their lives for most of Stefanie's years. On the day she disappeared, he was home doing maintenance work around the property. The day she vanished began inside that secluded home. Stefanie and her 16-year-old sister argued about chores, voices rising in the structure. Upset and tearful, Stefanie walked out wearing blue jeans, a long-sleeved blue shirt, and black Harley-Davidson hiking boots she often wore on her walks. No phone, no backpack, just her and the woods. She slipped past the yard and into the underbrush, eventually swallowed by the trees. Her sister watched her go, expecting she would cool down and return within an hour or two. It was their routine. Arguments happened, Stefanie would disappear into the woods to think, and she would come back calmer. The forest had always been her refuge. According to her parents, Stefanie had run away a few times before, usually found hiding in the woods within hours. About a month before she disappeared, she had done the same thing. There was no reason to believe this time would be any different. Around 3 in the afternoon, Stefanie's mother, Lisa Marie Damron, began getting text messages from her oldest daughter saying that Stefanie had left the house and was last seen walking into the woods off West Road. Lisa and Dale had been away from the property, filling out paperwork for a job application. 4 of their 6 children were home with Richard. Before her parents had left, Stefanie had come up to her mother, given her love, hugged her and told her she loved her and kissed her on the cheek. Lisa kissed her back and told her she loved her too, saying she would be back soon. At first, no one panicked. Stefanie often took long walks alone and usually returned without issue. As afternoons stretched into evening, concern began to creep in. When twilight deepened and the first stars appeared, worry became fear. The children played in the woods regularly. It was normal. But as darkness fell completely and Stefanie still hadn't appeared, her parents knew something was wrong. By the next morning, September 24, 2024, Dale Damron reported Stefanie missing to Maine State Police Troop F. The response was immediate and massive. Maine State Police, the Major Crimes Unit North, and the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, also known as the CARD Team, descended on New Sweden. What began as a missing person case rapidly escalated into one of the most intensive searches the region had seen in years. Searchers moved in coordinated lines through the dense forest. The Maine Warden Service brought expertise navigating the rugged terrain. These wardens knew the land intimately. They had spent decades tracking lost hikers and disoriented wanderers. If anyone could find a person in these woods, it was them. K-9 units tracked scent lines, their handlers watching carefully as the dogs worked. The scent trail led into the forest before inexplicably vanishing. It was as if Stefanie had simply evaporated. Drones equipped with thermal imaging cameras scanned from the sky, searching for any heat signature. Volunteers pushed through thick woods, calling her name until their voices grew hoarse. Grid searches expanded for miles, stretching into some of the most difficult terrain in the region. Searchers waded through bogs, climbed steep ridges, and checked abandoned structures and old hunting camps. The weather complicated everything. Late September in northern Maine brings unpredictable conditions. Days might be warm, but nights plunge toward freezing. Rain swept through the area, washing away potential evidence and making visibility poor. Searchers pressed on, knowing that exposure to the elements could be deadly. Helicopters from the Maine Forest Service joined the effort, their rotors thundering above the canopy. Ground crews established a command post, coordinating the efforts of dozens of agencies and hundreds of volunteers. Over 4,500 acres have been searched. That's more than 7 square miles of rugged wilderness. Systematic grid searches using GPS tracking ensured every section was thoroughly covered. Teams documented their paths, uploaded track logs, and marked areas as complete. Still, no trace of Stefanie emerged. Investigators interviewed family members, neighbors, and anyone who might have seen or heard something. They followed leads across Maine, throughout the United States, and into Canada. The public was urged to report even the smallest tip. A hotline was established. Detectives examined the family's property, requested phone records, examined social media activity, and traced communication patterns. According to Dale Damron, investigators discovered that Stefanie may have been using an old flip phone belonging to Richard to connect with people on social media. "We had bought an old, simple phone," Dale said. "We didn't even know it could connect to the internet. Turns out, this $20 flip phone was how she connected. We didn't know." This discovery raised the possibility that Stefanie might have been in contact with someone online, perhaps even planning to meet them. Law enforcement took this lead seriously, investigating whether she had been targeted by a predator online. Despite the scale of the search, no confirmed sightings emerged. No signs of foul play. No physical evidence. Only questions. The lack of evidence was perhaps the most frustrating aspect. Stefanie had walked into the woods and disappeared as completely as morning mist. Federal agencies brought additional resources. Behavioral analysts created profiles to help predict where Stefanie might have gone. Cadaver dogs were brought in, a grim but necessary step that yielded no results. Theories quickly formed. Some believed she simply walked away to cool off, became disoriented, and couldn't find her way back. In dense forest, even experienced people can lose their bearings. Others suspected she met someone, possibly someone she had communicated with using the flip phone. Investigators found no concrete evidence to support this theory, but they couldn't rule it out entirely. Law enforcement expressed concern about what they called a bad catfish scenario, where someone online might have misrepresented themselves to Stefanie, and upon discovering her real age, could have panicked. Many believed the harsh environment played a role. Thick underbrush, bogs, steep terrain, and sudden temperature drops could overwhelm anyone. A twisted ankle, a fall into a ravine, hypothermia setting in after dark. Hidden dangers dotted the landscape. Abandoned wells, deep streams, steep drop-offs. Any of these could explain what happened. The community responded with extraordinary heart. Flyers were posted everywhere. Volunteers arrived daily from across Maine and neighboring states. Churches held special services. Schools dedicated assemblies to raising awareness. Children made posters. The local fire department organized weekend search parties for months. National news outlets picked up the story. Stefanie's face appeared on morning shows, cable news, and the FBI's most wanted kidnappings and missing persons list. On December 2, 2024, the FBI announced a reward of up to $15,000 for information leading to Stefanie's safe return or the arrest and prosecution of anyone involved in her disappearance. The FBI stated they hoped this reward would incentivize anyone with information to come forward, emphasizing that any detail, no matter how small, could be helpful. A group of volunteers created a website called teamstefanie.org to support the investigation and maintain accurate information about the case. Christy Rand, a volunteer advocate, has worked tirelessly with others to print flyers, organize public searches, and spread awareness. These volunteers have reported several tips to authorities. In one notable instance, almost a dozen team members were contacted by someone on the internet claiming to have knowledge of Stefanie's whereabouts. They turned the information over to authorities in January 2025, and later that year the individual was arrested by the FBI in an undercover operation and determined to be a predator. Months passed. Autumn turned to winter. Spring came and went. Throughout 2025, searches continued. In early May, a 3-day intensive search brought together approximately 60 people, including personnel from Maine State Police, Maine Warden Service, FBI, numerous volunteer search and rescue organizations, and support teams using drones, K9s, and horses. Despite these exhaustive efforts, no new developments emerged. On October 6, 2024, just 13 days after she disappeared, Stefanie turned 14 years old. By the time September 23, 2025 arrived, marking 1 full year since her disappearance, she remained missing. The anniversary brought renewed attention. Vigils were held where purple candles glowed in the darkness. Her mother, Lisa, read letters and pleas. The community gathered at a memorial Lisa had built on their property, decorated with orange, yellow, and green metal butterflies and birds on a tree stump, surrounded by whirligigs spinning in the September breeze. Like a light in the window, the family stands vigil. Dale and Lisa Damron have expressed frustration that the case feels like it's losing its flame. They've called for law enforcement to provide more public updates, believing that increased visibility could reignite public attention and generate new leads. They've asked the community to focus on Stefanie, not on rumors and speculation about their family. "Quit focusing on us and focus on Stefanie," Dale said in an interview. The family has been investigated by Child Protective Services and cleared by authorities, yet online speculation continues. The Damrons want people to know they've been cooperative throughout the investigation. Lisa shared the pain of not knowing. "I just want to know where my baby's at. I just want my baby home." It's the worst nightmare that you wish you could wake up from. And it just keeps going and going and going. Dale echoed this anguish. "You can't change the pain when you don't know, and that's what kills us. We don't know. Did she do it on her own? Was she kidnapped? Is she in the ditch? Is she shacked up with somebody? Did she get pregnant and didn't want to tell us? We need to know." The Damrons have a message for Stefanie. If she does Reddit, whatever happened, just come home, plain and simple. There ain't nothing worth keeping you away from home. The forest where she disappeared is beautiful but deceptive. Sunlight filters through tall pines, casting moving shadows. The scent of damp earth fills the air. It feels peaceful, yet searchers describe how easily trails twist unexpectedly, how quickly someone can become disoriented. Those woods have become a place of longing and unanswered questions. Lieutenant Crane of Maine State Police stated that they haven't made a determination on whether foul play is involved. The fact that we don't know either where Stefanie is today or what happened to Stefanie, then we believe anything is still possible. From an accident out in the woods to foul play, we're taking it all serious and following up on any lead that points us in one direction or the other. Is she lost somewhere in those woods? Did she meet someone? Is she alive? The questions haunt everyone involved. Her disappearance is more than a case. It's a haunting reminder of how fragile life can be. A young girl stepped into the woods she loved and vanished. Stefanie remains missing. The Major Crimes Unit continues to investigate alongside federal agencies. According to Shannon Moss, spokesperson for the Maine Department of Public Safety, detectives are continuing the investigation, though there are no new updates to report. The community remains vigilant. Purple candles flicker each year on the anniversary of her disappearance, reminding everyone that a child is still missing and answers are still needed. Stefanie is a white female with green eyes and shoulder-length brown hair. She is approximately 5 feet tall and weighs approximately 130 pounds. She is homeschooled with limited access to social media. At the time of her disappearance, she was wearing blue jeans, a long-sleeved blue shirt, and black Harley-Davidson hiking boots. Anyone with information about Stefanie's whereabouts is urged to contact the Maine State Police Holton Barracks at 2075-325-400 or 1-800-924-2261. You can also contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, your local FBI office, or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $15,000 for information leading to Stefanie's safe return or the arrest and prosecution of anyone involved in her disappearance. Until answers come, the woods hold a secret no one has yet uncovered. The search continues. The community remains committed, and Stefanie's story will be told and retold until finally, somehow, it reaches its conclusion. Until that day comes, her face remains on flyers, her name spoken in prayers, and her memory held close by everyone who refuses to let her be forgotten. What remains is hope. The hope that someone, somewhere, knows something. That a tip will surface. That the forest will give up its secret. That Stefanie will come home.
This is True Crime Moment, where real crime gives real chills.